Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, today's first map, a creator we've never done before on the channel. It's a real-life location over in Japan. Now, they built this map specifically so they could practice their mountain road building. And it's a pretty damn fine map for that. Is it a good city builder map? Well, if it is, then we are all winners. The second map, voted in by the BonBon buddies over on Patreon, it's a creator we haven't done for a while. We've reviewed them 4 times in the past, but not for 1001 shows. Now, they were averaging 11 stars back then, apart from that 1001 shows, which we won't talk about that one. We'll talk about it after the intermission, how about that? Before intermission though, we start the show with this. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's first map is Kitakami River, Japan by Hayashi Jin. Hayashi Jin? Yeah, it's, you know what, it's got a lot of Japanese feel to it, and you're winning if you actually get the feel of the area just right. There's your start square, both sides of the river. It's going to be a good city build for that. Terrain heights, it's all about the river valley, and then the mountains for the mountain roads. Look, it's all good for that. Resources, lots of oil in the mountains and lots of trees for chopping, but only in the middle. We'll talk about that later. And then if you have Sunset Harbour, you want to do some fishing. The Japanese do like their anchovies. I don't know, I just made that up. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's no DLC required. We're using the Green Mountain theme, the realistic 1.2 LUT, because we always do. There's a selection of things, including the intersection marking tool there, which you don't strictly need. This is a map to experiment my mountain roads. Good for you. Good for you is what I say to that. Now, I'm going to be honest, it would be nice to have a one-click collection there, especially also for the dependencies for some of these roads as well. They have bits and bobs added under. I was clicking through and clicking through and clicking to get everything. Yeah, a one-click collection would be nice. I do have a tutorial for that. Just do a search for collections on my page and it'll bring up the tutorial for you, because I'm bound to forget to link it in. Bound to. Anyway, heading down towards the start square location here. Plenty of flat buildable space in the start square here. Got a few ready roads down there as well as highways or national roads on either side of the river. And it's kind of clean and tidy and crisp and very Japanesey. Very Japanesey. I've got to be honest though, I got my hand in the air. I am sorry. I know Japan Drive on the left, but by the time I was recording, I realised I was already set for the right. So we are... You know, this little detail, this is like a proper little feature area here, and it does look and feel, apart from the roads, which is my fault, does feel very Japanese. Yeah, Japan, they drive on the left, and I would have had to redo everything. Lots of save points and all that sort of stuff. Do you know what? It wasn't worth it. The roads are wrong, it's because of me. Dock me a star. Don't dock the creator a star, okay? Now, we have got a few trees under the road down here. Not too many. In fact, most of them are just clinging onto the curb. It's only really this one that's encroaching onto the road. But there's one or two actually growing out the concrete on the curb there as well. But is it something to worry about? Not massively. Now, right up here, we have a little bit of edge of map shenanigans, that's quite nice. If you have a look here, we've got traffic which is avoiding the centre of the map by going from one point to the other on either side of the rivers up there. It's quite a nice little thing. The one thing that surprised me, and I can't see any reason why it's not happening. Sometimes you go, oh, it's broken here. I've not found any broken bits on here. I can't see why we haven't got actually any through traffic going the length of the map. Maybe it's just too far for the traffic. This is something that can happen, but I'm absolutely convinced that you will actually get traffic into the start square. We've got another one over here as well. Don't remember, these are national. I can't say, I'm just surprised, even though I don't think they're too far. And you'd think that they would actually be spawning for themselves. A little bit of right on the edge of the map, deep in the fog. A little bit of a ridge there to get up onto the national road. But hey, It's not an issue for me. This map is designed to be played in the 25 tiles, as you can tell by the tree placement, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, before we start talking about any grumbles, because you know I do like a grumble, okay, so let's talk about some of the good stuff. The aim of this map was to provide some mountain road practice. This bridge, by the by, okay, this is not the creator's fault. This bridge is just dragging a little bit in the water here. If you want to have the realistic bridge, you haven't got realistic, these bridges are too deep. The concrete on them is just too deep. It'll be washed away. It'll be washed away. So you could say it's a detailing fault, but also maybe it's 100% accurate as well. But if I don't mention it, I'm going to get pulled up by one of you guys. So I'm mentioning it. Okay. Anyway, the mountain roads have been done very nicely. We've got these retaining walls. We've got a nice little bit of roadside detailing. I know there's a little bit of slightly elevated non-conforming grasses along the river's edge here. I did see them. I'm not making a big deal about it, okay, because it was more about the quality of the road and the roadside details. What we're looking at the moment. I want to look at positives, and there's plenty of positives from this map. I mean, it's quite a nice little map, okay. It's not finely polished, it's not been taken to the nth degree, but the areas that was specifically built. I wonder if we can get down to ground level. Let me go down to first person camera. Well, that's as low as it's going to let us go. Okay, well we'll see what it looks like as low as we can take our first person camera, bouncing around a little bit. But yeah, I'm liking it. I think there's definitely some skills here, definitely some skills, and maybe this sort of map is going to be good for practicing on. You know, it's not always about building a huge city, but we do have lots of buildable space by the river, so you can also build a huge city. But I mean, I think credit to Hayashi Jin for building a map that they can just practice something that maybe, I mean, it's not easy. There's a bit of a skill involved in mountain roads like that. Okay, let's head back down to the buildable areas. I'm not entirely sold on the sandbanks. They're okay. They're all right, and we're sort of like being pushed up a little bit onto the roadside there, which is I mean, it's all right. It's not magical, but again, it's a builder's map. This area here is meant for you to do the work on, really. It's just like put everything in place. I do like the tunnels on the road assets here. They're I mean, fully rendered, but also really nice tunnels as well. And also the catenaries as well, and the rail is just a really nice pick as well. So credit there. Now I know in the land of the rising sun, people tend to be a bit shorter. Okay, even shorter than I. But this bridge is a little low. It's technically just about high enough for a walking person, but it is a little bit low. Pretty sure there should be a pillar at that location as well, but it's not a huge problem. We have a pillar here and a pillar on the other side too. But as I say, it's a bit of a space between the two, so that's probably where there was a pillar. But I'm not that worried about it. It's plausible, actually, plausible. Okay, now talking trees. Do you know what? I mean, it works. It works. I'm not going to say it's nth level, but it works. Where it doesn't work, though, when you move out of the 25 tiles, you can see the original height map, and it hasn't been cleaned up at all. Not all of the digitization, I mean, basically absolutely everywhere where there aren't trees, you can make this out. It would have been nice to have seen the smoothing tool just quickly run over it, but equally, is it going to be seen? Was that the purpose of the map? I can see why it's not been done. I'm making excuses for them. I can see why it's not been done, but I mean, the areas where we got tree coverage, you don't really notice it, and so I think a bit of credit there. Without some trees in the main river, just a few. I mean, they have got the trunks on. Yes, that's for the BonBonBingo players. You know you love it, don't you? You know you love it. Over here, okay, you've got a little bridge here. This is a cute little bridge. I mean, we could grumble about it in little ways, but I like that little bridge, and I'm going to let it live, okay? Okay, the pillar in the middle probably could be moved, personally. We do have a whole bunch of trees slightly upstream. That's the main reason why I came to that bridge, though. Wasn't to talk about the pillar. It's to talk about there's a whole bunch of trees in the river up there. Again, does it matter? Not that much. Does this matter? The tree is actually growing into the electrical pylon, and it's just kind of, it's shocking. Absolutely shocking detailing there. See what I did there? Yeah, I know. Anyway, and down in now, this is our main feature area down here. We've got a few grasses clipping through the underside of the roads there, which is, I mean, is it a problem? Is it really? It's not. We're just talking about maybe a quarter of a tenth of a star, you know, nothing really for that. But all told, I think we've got an interesting shaped map with good sound, solid. But what am I looking for? Just like it's just a base, a canvas. There's the word I'm looking for. A solid canvas for a Japanese build with some nice little areas like this. But am I right? You tell me. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewers' Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right corner of the screen, or the link in the description takes to the voting page where you can vote for free. But make sure you are clicking on the correct link, because there are 2 maps. Right, okay, what do I think of today's first map? Well, Kitakami River. There's a river, so we can give you a bit of score for the fact that you've got that. It looks and feels Japanese. We can give you a score for that. I can't give you 4 stars though, as much as I'd like to. This would easily, if this wasn't just an experimental map, and the creators spent a bit more time on it, this is easy into 4 stars. But it wasn't about that. So I'm going to go for the medium high, high even. Yeah, 3 stars. And they go a little bit higher on the detail as well. There's plenty of good stuff, but there's not enough. You know, we got problems. We got problems that are preventing it being a 4-star map. Correct? Yeah, I'm right. So top end of 3. Gameplay, I'm going medium low 4 because there's stuff that I would want to fix as I'm going along. But Kitakami River, Japan by Hayashi Jin is playable. It's solid. It's a good canvas. Canvases are good. Also, intermissions are good. So let's have one. We'll come right back after this. And so on with our second map, the BonBonBuddy voted map over on Patreon. Now, this one's been in the spin cycle for quite some time. Originally released in 2019, it was about a year later, it went up for the vote, and they chose a different map. And then a year later, they chose a different map yet again. And this was the 3rd attempt. Now, if you're rejected 3 times in a row, I throw the map in the discard pile. I'm so glad that this one got voted in. I'm so glad. It just means that we get to see one of our old friend creators. I say old friend. We've seen them a few times, but it was over 1,000 episodes ago. It's Mudge Lord, formerly The Real Mudge, formerly Mudge. I'll talk about their previous episodes in a few moments' time. There's your start square. Nice, interesting shapes going on there. I would like to see an intersection in there, but it's not absolutely essential. Then you've got lots of flat buildable space. It's going to please a lot of you. Strong, fertile land across the middle of the map. Plenty of trees, little ore and oil if you're playing with the 81 tile mod. And then if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, we have pools of anchovies and rivers of salmon on the whole. Off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, no DLC required today. We've got the Norway spruce, the old leafy tree, and the Stray Cats Territory homecoming theme, along with the realistic 1.2 LUT. Okay, down to ground level. Now, I say this every single time, but it's always somebody's first show. So, the trees that are showing through the roads, if you're playing vanilla or vanilla style, these will not show through for you, so don't worry about it. I use a mod called Anarchy, which allows for the trees to show through, and it just means that if you deliberately want to put the trees under the roads or the rail, they will show through. There are legitimate reasons for doing this sometimes. Clearly, this isn't one of those said things, but they do take a part of the tree count. So the more trees there are underneath the roads, the more tree limitation that you have. Anyway, it's by the by on this particular map. It's not anything for you to worry about, but I always show them anyway. So anyway, we've done Mudge Lord stroke Mudge stroke the real Mudge stroke various other Mudge. I don't know where Mudge came from, but they always use Mudge. We've done them 4 times in the past. Episodes 98, That's right. 119, 369 and 511, which was, yes, 1001 episodes ago. Those 4 episodes I gave them 11 stars, then 11 stars, then 11 stars, and we won't talk about the last one because it was a little bit disappointing in terms of final score, so we'll just ignore that last one. But we have got 3 very strong, solid efforts beforehand, and that's all good. Here's your start square kind of area. Again, I'd like to see an intersection down here because it does cost a few quid to make one and a bit of time. Of course, it might be something you enjoy doing, and if you do, have a ball. But if you don't, then you just want to get started on the cheap, you can just connect that with a dirt track, T-junction dirt track. It'll get you going. There's nothing to say that you can't. But again, it's slightly more... I don't know, it just encourages you a little bit more if you have got an intersection in there, even if it's just something simple. Even if you know that something simple is going to need to be upgraded. Just to get started, on the cheap, thank you very much, free intersection. Anyway, the road, we've just got the one highway running across the length of the map, a little bit like the map pack from Samson Gamer. So there is that. And then we have a rail line that does exactly the same. Back again, we do have trees under the line, so there's the branch line joke if you want that, I guess. Anyway, yes, the rail's okay. The rail's fine. I have no grumbles with the rail. I have no grumbles with the map, really. The map is going to definitely please some people. It's an interesting shape. It's very flat for buildability. We have got some shapes of forests to work in and around if you want to try and avoid building into the trees and use the trees for the shape of the city. These things are already in place. And we've got some interesting shapes mountains for backdrop, which is good. Now remember, this is Alaska, so if you fancy playing this with snowfall, you could. This could be your winter. It could be a good winter map, and it's going to be flat and it's going to be buildable. I mean, you're going to have the wrong trees, but you can switch those out, I'm pretty sure, without too many problems. You've got the Bob, the prop and tree replacer. That's what you want. Anyway, if you pull the camera all the way back, we'll have a little look for the shipping routes. There's probably a couple in these bays somewhere. Yep, you can make out we have slightly more extensive one now this way. Slightly angular, but it's not going to be any... You won't notice anything with the ships there. Angular, but it's not anything that the ships are going to be doing anything stupid like hairpin turns. So that'll do fine. And then if you want moving water in the start square, well, it is moving, but it's moving tidally up the river. Not a huge problem. But if you put your sewage in this kind of area, you're going to get a very heavily polluted river. So just take a little careful look at it before you start putting down. You'll be fine. It'll work, but just don't assume the water is flowing out the river because it seems to be flowing into it. Tidal, okay? Some nice shapes of mountains here. Again, taken from real life. And they're good shapes. And the SCT homecoming theme does work very nicely here. We've got a nice looking river. There are actually on this map a couple of nice little, and they are little, waterfalls that I forgot to show as I was recording the footage. But yeah, there's one actually down by the river mouth on one of them, and just nice and clean and better than average waterfalls, you know. We have got vanilla rocks out here in the water, which is going to cause a couple of little problems. First of all, we're going to get a bit of water glitching here because rocks are actually, well, vanilla rocks are buildings, and buildings are sort of not good with water, are they, you know? Then over here, this one here, we have got the underwater trees. That's because they are part of the asset. There's no other way around it other than not using the asset in the water, but it's kind of deep enough not to notice. So maybe we can let that one go. Maybe. Can be a little bit fair. It's an older map. I think we can be a little bit fair. Plus, we haven't really got any drowned trees at all, other than those ones that are part of the asset. So there's a little bit of cred to be given there. Pretty good, decent density of trees, and the mix of those two trees works quite well together. There's that little bit of lumpy bumpy under the water there. am I buying into this? Because you do get a little bit lumpy bumpy under the water, but it just feels a bit glitchy rather than a natural terrain going on there. That it just looks a bit awkward. So yeah, not a huge problem with it. Just talking. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm wrong. You know, I'd probably just smooth that out a little bit, or make one of those bumps just a little bit bigger for just making it into a proper little island. You know. Anyway, what do you think of this map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewers' Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of this month, even though it's 3 years old? 4 years old. Only you can decide. 3 years old. I don't know. Anyway, make sure you're voting on the right map, because we have 2 maps to vote on. But what do I think of this second map? Well, I'm glad it came around. It's got plenty going for it. It's a little bit dated, but that's not Mudge's fault, really, is it? I blame the buddies. I'll put it up there. But yeah, it's got plenty going for it. Aesthetically, it's a sound design. It's not unappealing in any way. I can't quite go into 4 stars, but a decent medium-high 3 is fair, I think. Detailing, there's nothing really wrong with it. 1 or 2 little grumbly bits, and a pretty solid effort across the whole, really. Can't quite go to 4 stars again, so I'm just going to match that medium-high 3. And gameplay potential, I think it's almost good enough for 4 stars. Again, I'd like to have a nice little start square intersection, but it's not essential. But I think that would just nudge it up a bit higher. But again, medium-high 3, because it won't let you down. Perfectly lovely. Wilmond by Mudge Lord. Long overdue. There might even be another real Mudge map on that long list somewhere. I'm not sure. I'll have a little look. They made a few. Yeah, I know they're capable of better. I know they are. I have seen better. And I have seen that you are... I don't know, how am I going to use this? Oh, I've got myself in a hole with this one, haven't I? I know it, but can you use the word of the day? If you can, do it in the comments, and I'll see you very, very soon. Oh, God, mess that one up.